The square-styled Mark II version appeared in January 1975. The first production models had rolled off the production lines on the 2nd of December 1974. Unlike the first Escort, which was developed by Ford of Britain, the second generation was developed jointly between the UK and Ford of Germany. Codename Brenda. It used the same mechanical components as the Mark I. The 940cc engine was still offered in Italy, where the smaller engine attracted tax advantages, but in the other larger European markets in Europe it was unavailable. The estate and van versions used the same panelwork as the Mark I, but with the Mark II front end and interior. The car used a revised underbody, which had been introduced as a running change during the last 6 months' production of the Mark I. Rear suspension still sat on leaf springs. The car came in for criticism for its lack of space, with a glove compartment only available on higher-end models, and its stalk-mounted horn. The L and GL models were in the mainstream private sector, the Sport, RS Mexico, and RS 2000 in the performance market, the Gear for a small car luxury market, and Base, popular models for the bottom end. Panel van versions catered to the commercial sector. The 1.6 litres engine in the 1975 1.6 gear produced 84 horsepower. A cosmetic update was given in 1976, with L models gaining the square headlights, and there was an upgrade in interior and exterior specification for some models. Underneath, a wider front track was given. The Mark II Escort was assembled at Ford Australia's Homebush plant, Sydney, from March 1975 to 1980 in 2-door and 4-door versions. The estate model were unavailable to the Australian market. The sedan models were available in L, XL and Gear forms, and a Sport Pack option, similar to the 1300 and 1600 Sport models sold elsewhere. Unlike other markets, likely due to the estate's absence, the van was offered in a higher level of trim. Unusual upgrades for the range not offered elsewhere on the Australian Escort included steel hubcaps, and high-backed front seats. In 1978, Ford Australia standardized the use of the blue oval logo across the Escort model range. These Escort models are identified by the familiar blue Ford oval in the center of the grille and on the boot lid. It also revamped the image of its leisure range by introducing the Escort Sundown panel van, positioning it as a youth-orientated lifestyle vehicle complete with bold body decorations and domed side windows. Available in 1.6 litres and 2.0 litres forms. In 1979, Ford Australia gave the Escort an update, increasing basic equipment levels and standardizing square headlights on L and GL models, previously only available on Escort gear. Chasing both youth and performance, Ford Australia introduced their take on the RS 2000, which, complete with its slant nose, was available in both 2-door form and as a unique to Australia 4-door, in a choice of 5 solid paint colors. These RS cars certainly looked the part, but were actually powered by the same 2.0-litre engine as the rest of the local Escort range, and available with a choice of manual or automatic transmission. A total of 2,400 Australian RS 2000 cars were made. While offered in many model forms, the Escort, like the Cortina, was not popular on the Australian market, largely due to expanding competition from Japanese imports and the established preference of Australian drivers for larger 6-cylinder vehicles. Australian Escort production ceased in late 1980, with 79,142 examples of the Mark II produced, the range being replaced by FWD derivatives of the Mazda 323, namely the Ford Laser hatchback and the Meteor 4-door sedan. The Mark II Escort was introduced to New Zealand in early 1975, assembled at Ford's plant in Wairie, South Auckland. Unlike the Australian models, the New Zealand Escort range followed the specifications of the British models, aside from the use of metric instrumentation. All body styles were assembled, including the estate, previously a built-up import from the United Kingdom. A large choice of models were available in the New Zealand Escort range, consisting of 1.1 litres, base, 1.3 litres 1.3 Sport, Estate and Van variants, the 1.1 being aimed at finance-conscious buyers. The 1.3 litres models were popular, and the 1.6 litres, which appeared in New Zealand production in 1976, being reserved for 1.6 Sport and Gear models. A 3-speed automatic transmission was available as an option for most 1.3 and 1.6 litre models. Unlike Australia, the Escort ranges sold well and often topped the car monthly sales lists. An update was given for the range for 1979, which notably involved the addition of the Gear model, the adoption of the GL's square headlights on the lower-end models, Ford Blue Oval badging, and sport wheels on the L and GL. By 1980, all Gear models gained standard alloy wheels. The production of British-sourced and New Zealand-assembled Escorts ended in late 1980. Ford dealers offered large price reductions to shift their remaining Mark II Escort stock when the model was replaced in New Zealand by the Ford Laser in May 1981, which was a badge-engineered Mazda 323, available in sedan and hatchback forms. As with its predecessor, the Mark II had a successful rallying career. All models of the Mark I were carried over to the Mark II. Though the Mexico gained the RS badge and had its engine changed to a 1.6 litres overhead cam Pinto instead of the overhead valve. A sport model was also produced using the 1.6 litres cross-flow. A new model was released, the RS 1800, which had a fuel-injected 1790cc engine. It was especially created for rallying. The works rally cars were highly specialized machines. The big innovation was the development of a silicon fluid-coupled central differential creating an auto-torque vectoring all-wheel drive system. Tim Howard of Ford Dagenham led this development. The basic concept still propels most AWD vehicles today. Body shells were heavily strengthened. They were characterized by the wide wheel arch extensions, and often had 4 large spotlights for night stages. The engine was replaced with 2.0 litres and gave up to 250 bhp with aluminium block by 1979. It was complemented by a strengthened transmission, 5-speed straight-cut ZF gearbox, 5-linked suspension and more minor upgrades. The Mark II Escort continued its predecessor's run on the RAC Rally, winning every year from 1975 to 1979 and racing in a variety of other events around the world. In the 1979 season of the World Rally Championship, Bjorn Waldigard took the driver's title, Hannu Mikkola was runner-up and Ari Vatanen finished the year in 5th place, all driving Escort RS 1800. These drivers' successes throughout the year gave Ford the manufacturer's title, the only time the company had achieved this until the 2006 season, when Marcus Gronholm and Mika Hirvonen won the title for Ford in Ford Focus RSWRC06. Vatanen won the driver's title in 1981, again at the wheel of an RS 1800. This victory came despite the arrival on the WRC scene of the four-wheel drive Audi Quattro. Ford placed in the top 3 in the manufacturers' championship for the 6th year in a row. The 2.0 litres RS 2000 version, with its distinctively slanted polyurethane nose, and featuring the Pinto engine was announced in the UK in March 1975 and introduced in Germany in August 1975, being reportedly produced in both countries. It provided a claimed 110 bhp and a top speed of 110 miles per hour for acceleration 0 to 60 in a time of just 8.9 seconds was claimed by the manufacturers. The 2.0 litres engine was also easily retrofitted into the Mark I, along with the Ford Sierra's 5-speed gearbox, for rallying and other sports.